Welcome back. In the previous video, we studied the concept of sixth rank opposition. Today, we will cover two more endgame concepts, key square and distant opposition. So let's get started. Key square are the most important square in a king and pawn endgame. If attacking king can reach one of those squares, the pawn will promote. For pawn on second, third, and fourth rank, key squares are two ranks ahead. For example, for pawn d3, key squares are c5, d5, and e5. If our king occupies any of those squares, the position is winning. White is now heading towards c5, and black cannot prevent it. Once we reaches to c5, opposition will take care of the rest and secures a win. This is a simple idea that every chess player should know, yet many still struggle in chess practice because learning endgame can seem boring and repetitive. For d4 pawn, key square are c6, d6 and e6. Once we try to secure a key square and then we push a pawn. Let's see how the defending king can use distant opposition to keep the enemy king away from the key square. Before we look at the position, let's understand what distant opposition actually is. We already know that in normal opposition, the two kings face each other with one square in between, called opposition. Distant opposition follows the same idea, except the kings are farther apart. When the two kings are on the same file, ranks or diagonal, and separated by an odd number of squares, such as 1, 3, and 5, we call it distant opposition. Here black has played king b8. Notice that the kings are 3 square apart on the same file. This is known as the distant opposition. When the two kings are separated by an odd number of square between them, we call it distant opposition. And see how the black king uses the opposition to keep the white king away from those key squares and secures a draw. Reaching the key square is usually enough to win the game. But knight pawn endgame contains an important exception. Here, defending king can reach to the corner and hold the draw. So, in the case of knight pawn, be careful to push a pawn to the sixth rank. Here, black may have a chance to save the game through stalemate. In the case of knight pawn, this is something you should be aware of. However, in this position, white doesn't advance the pawn. Instead, he plays the king on f7. Now, king h8 is forced. The white idea is to move over to the H file and give black some room along the F file, and this avoid any stalemating possibilities, and white will secure a win. Let's jump to the next position. In a rook pawn endgame, if the defending king manages to occupy the promotion square, then we are unable to force the king away from the promotion square, and game ended in a draw. Let's see one more example. If the defending king were on a8, the game would be an immediate draw. However, black still has one defensive resource available. If the black king can manage to restrict the white king in the corner, then he can also hold the draw. Here white is threatened to play king b7, but it's black's turn, and black plays king c8 and secure a draw. Let's see how. If you find these endgame lessons helpful and would like to deepen your understanding, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There are many more concepts and examples coming up in the series. Thanks for watching and enjoy the show.